Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Well, before we get started, we do have a public hearing tonight. We got two public hearings. So if you're here to speak on the public hearings, we do have cards up here. And also if you're here to speak under just the general comments, we have cards up here. So you can fill those out and give them to staff and we'll take those up when we call you up. But right now, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order this Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for Monday, May 4th, 2026. Forgive me, folks, we're still getting used to a new system. Do we have to do a roll call in here? Or are we doing, Angela? To say that we're all present? I think we're supposed to. But for those of you out there, we're all here. Yeah, there we go. All right, somebody missing. There we go. All right, everyone is present. All right. If everyone would please stand for the opening prayer by Alderman Jeff McKee, and please remain standing after that for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight and just humble ourselves before you. Lord, we just ask for your wisdom and guidance over the town. Lord, I just lift up our staff and um, all the ladies and gentlemen that work for the town every day and work for us and put in hard work and dangerous positions every day. Lord, just praise you that you've kept us safe. Lord, I pray over our citizens, Lord, for the safety and concern over our families and kids. Lord, just continue to keep us safe. And as we wrap up the school year and go into summertime, Lord, Lord, just keep your arms around us. Lord, give us wisdom again tonight. Lord, we just lift all these things up to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Turner, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Let the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. I do want to remind the alderman, staff requested that make sure you hit your green button on your microphones tonight so the minutes can be clear when they're trying to record them. So first item up is an approval for the minutes from the April 6, 2026 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Barker, second by Mr. Harmon. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, everybody vote. That item passes. Next up, we have grievances and comments from citizens. This is where we allow you to come up and speak on any particular topic, whether it's on the agenda tonight or not. We'll give you up to 3 minutes to talk. If something is covered tonight under the agenda, you may get your question answered, but if not, staff will take your name and address or your name and information to get back with you if it's something that needs to be getting back with. So is there anyone here that filled out a card or that's here to speak on any particular topic, not regarding the public hearings? Seeing none, we'll move on. Communications from the mayor. So the sheriff's department report, we did just have officer of the year. Prior to this, an Officer Woody was awarded Officer of the Year from Arlington, so we appreciate his service. We do one every year, and we thank the Health and Safety Committee for doing that. The sheriff's department report is on file, and so I'll pass on to Chief Harville. I do just want to say thank you to your guys and the sheriff's department. I know it was kind of I know last week, right after school, we had, I think, 2 wrecks going on at the same time. Sheriff's department, great response from the fire department. And I know one of the families involved and they were very thankful for what you guys did. So please relay that. Next up, just a few comments. Mrs. Howell's usually here from the chamber at this time, but she had a conflict with scheduling with her husband. So she wanted us to announce that next Wednesday, the 13th, is the chamber lunch. I can't recall who the speaker is, but that's next Wednesday at 11:30. We do have our first music on the square of the season on May 16th. And so it's always a great event. And we're looking forward to this music on the square season. And just a couple comments from me. I think most of us saw many of you out at Arlington in April last couple weeks ago. It was great weather. It was a great event. Thanks to parks, staff, everybody that was involved with it. I think everybody says it's the best one they can recall in years. So we want to definitely, all your staff, all the volunteers, thank you all, because it went off without a hitch, and we can't say anything better. So that's really all I have right now, because I know we got some items to get into. Does anybody have any announcements they'd like to make?
Arlington April was awesome. And so just wanted to say that for the staff. It feels like I was thinking about this a little while ago. I was like, I'm going to make sure and tell them this is the best one ever. And I thought, it seems like every event we have in the past year or two, I've said this is the best one ever. So it was awesome. The vendors were great. So you did a great job of selecting the vendors. And yeah, so really appreciate that.
Yep, there is a ribbon cutting Thursday for Smith Foods.
Smith Pools is right down by Louis Deli and behind AutoZone and everything. So that's at 11:30 also. Yes. All right. Any other announcements? Okay, on to any committee reports. All right, seeing none, let's move on to consent agenda. We only have one item on the consent agenda, so to have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion by Mr. Biggs, second by Mr. Brooks. Need to vote. That item passes. Next up, old business, item A, second and final reading of ordinance 2026-04 to amend the Town of Arlington zoning ordinance, Chapter 4, zoning districts, bulk regulations and uses, Section 4.9, provisions for conditional use, subsection 4.93, specific standards for commercial activities, adding paragraph 7, special conditions for liquor stores. We do have a public hearing on this. So Mr. Crater.
All right, good evening. Just to kind of recap from the first reading. So the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, you guys updated the ordinance regarding beer and liquor in March. This ordinance will revise the zoning ordinance regarding requirements for liquor stores in response to those amendments. And this is the second and final reading, and as such, a public hearing will be required. A little background information. So at this time, liquor stores allowed as a conditional use in B2 general business, B3 downtown business, and SC shopping center zones. Well, not at this time, prior to the approval of that. And so this no longer matches the allowed zones approved by the board. So in the zoning ordinance, it indicates that it's still allowed in B3. So BMA's updated liquor language removes liquor stores from B3 in the municipal code and permitted 2 in the town. So table 4.8, the town of the zoning ordinance provides information regarding permitted uses in each zoning district. A change to the table to this table is proposed to align with recently updated language. So under the category liquor stores, it'll be revised to allow only in B2 and SC and remove B3. 4.9 specific provisions for conditional uses is broken down by use classes, with 4.9.3 governing commercial activities. Liquor stores were listed as a conditional use in table 4.8, but no specific conditions were indicated. The proposed amendment will set a list of provisions for the BZA to follow when considering conditional use permit as per 10.5.4 of the zoning ordinance. The proposed special conditions are as follows. Number one, proposal shall be compatible with the surrounding area, thus reducing impacts. Two, shall meet separation requirements as set forth in the Arlington Municipal Code Title 8. Three, shall meet state requirements to be located on the ground floor and have one main entrance facing a public street. Four, shall meet town requirement to be in a single tenant building. 5, liquor stores must include a minimum accessible square footage of 2,500 square feet. 6, no drive-through or pickup windows are permitted. 7, must provide a minimum of 1 off-street loading area for delivery trucks. 8, exterior lighting shall be adequate to discourage loitering and ensure premium visibility for security. 9, colored interior accent lighting may not be visible from the public right-of-way. 10, all signage must adhere to town ordinances, and interior illuminated and advertising may not be visible from right away. 11, get a PC recommendation of a preliminary site plan prior to BZA hearing the conditional use permit. So the planning commission considered the proposed amendment in April. They recommended approval with one proposed change. They recommended revising the language to require a minimum of 4,000 square feet, including indoor storage areas. And staff does recommend considering a minimum ratio of retail to storage / staff office break areas to ensure storage will be outside of the retail area. As a reference size, example of existing buildings are as follows. The Chase Bank is 3,500 square feet. The existing liquor store is 5,000 square feet. The Dollar General is 8,500 square feet, and Ace Hardware is 10,000 square feet. The recommendation, staff does recommend approval of ordinance 2026-04 to amend the zoning ordinance. Chapter 4, Table 4.8, and Section 4.9 regarding specific provisions for liquor stores. The first reading of this ordinance was approved as written in April, and this is the second and final reading of this ordinance requiring a public hearing. And that concludes my presentation, and leave it up to you guys from here.
You've heard the recommendation by Mr. Crater. To have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Biggs. Now, before we get to discussion, before we get to the public hearing on this, I'm glad Mr. Crater gave all the notes from last month, because the one thing that we kind of left on the table last month was the minimum square footage. So the first reading still has 2,500 square feet. I just want everybody to remember that, even though the PC recommendation was different. So I know we'll get into that discussion in a minute. Just want everybody to consider that as they're thinking about things. So, but right now I'd like a motion to suspend the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, open the public hearing. Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Mr. Barker. We are now in the public hearing. This second and final reading of ordinance 2026-04 to amend the town of Arlington zoning ordinance, chapter 4 zoning districts. This notice of this public hearing was published in the Daily News on April 10th, 2026. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this particular request, please stand and be recognized. We'll ask you to state your name and address for the record. Is anybody here to speak on this public hearing only? Seeing none, I have a motion to close the public hearing, resume the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Mr. Harmon. Objection, we're back on the main motion. So discussion.
I'm guessing we need to clear the square
Yeah.
footage.
What we would need to do where we kind of left it last month, we would need to make a motion to amend on a square footage size. And that may be one that makes it through that amendment. It may have to take another amendment to get it to where it is. So somebody wants to make a motion, we'll start the discussion off with that.
I make a motion, we go with the 4,000 recommended by the planning commission.
I got a motion by Mr. Brooks for 4,000 square feet to amend, second by Mr. Barker. All right, any objection? Now we are on the motion to amend to 4,000 square feet. So we're just discussing that discussion. Everybody good?
I was just gonna say, when I first found out, I was a little bit like, oh, why are we requiring? But then when I realized that the existing store is 5,000 square feet, I was like, okay, that makes total sense then. So yeah, I'm supportive of it.
And again, I'm not trying to complicate things, but I mean, if there's another size that somebody was wanting, this would be the time to discuss it or amend it or whatever. But the reason we kind of came up with that is because when you start looking at bays, like in a bay strip mall, the discussion was sometimes those are 13 to 1,400 square feet. So 2,500. And if they have storage in the back, it could be a small building, especially since we're requiring freestanding buildings and we have high expectations of our buildings. And so I think that was where the planning commission was going with it, to try to make sure that we adhere to our standards. And we even changed some of the other businesses that were smaller businesses, try to ensure that we have adequate size for whether it's repurposed or whatever. But I just hope whoever moves forward with this understands our regulations that we've got with these buildings and the process that it'll have to go through. Mr. McKee, do you have something? Oh,
Yeah, how did y'all arrive, Mike, Oscar, at 4,000?
It was basically a compromise based off of the size of buildings in the area and what we thought one should suffice the needs of possibly 2,500 square foot of retail space. And you're gonna need an adequate amount of storage space in the back and some restrooms and office space. So 4,000 was plenty of opportunity to get all that under one roof.
So 4,000 is enough for what you figured.
it was really, yeah, it was kind of a softball thrown up, honestly. We weren't sure of the existing liquor store size. We were guessing, we thought it was around 5. And so we were just kind of comparing, I'd talked to a couple other stores that I'd been in around the city, just asking their size. And some of them were 8,000, some of them were large, a lot larger. So, I mean, I think there's too small and there could be too big, especially for our community. But it seems like 4,000 was a good start. 5,000 was also kind of thrown out there. But that's kind of where we were. Mr. McKee.
Well, I'm glad you brought up 5,000. With our existing building, current business that has that, I kind of feel like would be an adequate number to go with to keep things on par with that as a starting point. They can always go bigger, but to me, I think as a minimum set, that what's currently there would be, to me, it's the most obvious thing to set that as our standard. It's already there. And I think 5,000 square foot would be a more adequate number to kind of keep things on even par with everything. That's just my opinion. Just would like to hear feedback on that.
Well, one of the things that we talked about, we didn't know at the time where the locations would be. And so now we kind of know that they're either just south of the interstate or north of the interstate. So when you think about what's going to be around there, I mean, I just want a good quality store that comes in and a good product. I mean, that's going to look good. I know you're going to handle it on the design side, but so I have no problem with 5,000. That's kind of, it's just,
It was, 4 was
but
just.
4 was just a number that we just started with to bring it to the board, because we knew this board was going to decide.
Yeah, that one of my, and listen, y'all know that unless I'm lost, I'm probably not gonna end up in there. But the feedback I've heard from people that go in is a lot of times these things end up with boxes in the hallway and the walkways and all this stuff. I'd rather see the thing go a little larger so that they're encouraged to provide themselves plenty of storage space so that the interior is set up as nice as the exterior is going to be. So, I mean, that's just things that, hearing from folks that go into places where one of the complaints is, man, we just see boxes on the floor with everything stacked up and everything. We'd like to see things nice and at a higher level. And to me, to do that is to increase the square footage so that they have plenty of storage to be able to do that. And also, like I said, we've already got one at 5,000 square foot. To me, that would be a good place to start at. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, let me ask Mr. Crater something. So on one of your slides, you had, I think, square footage with storage and all that. So I think it was maybe the slide or two before that where it said, yes, include.
And I guess
minimum
the
square-
intent was to, I don't know, if we were gonna kind of size it down, and thinking of the 2,500 square foot, it would probably behoove us to place some kind of ratio of storage retail, actual retail space to storage, office, and those kind of things. Cause, you know, if we don't kind of think about that ratio, you could have 1,000 square foot array of retail and the rest basically be a warehouse at that point,
Yeah.
you know, so. You know, that may be something to think about, whether or not that's something to be addressed as part of this meeting. I don't know. And from a legal standpoint, I don't know if we could really drive that ratio. That would be a question for our
They're
legal team.
looking at the attorney right now, so. Or. Well, most likely, go ahead.
So yeah, I think part of the conversation at the PC was related to the size and outgrowth of access and health safety. You know, we talked a little bit about that last time, and where if you have all buildings have maximum occupancy. Same true if you've got aisles and you've got boxes stacked up in aisles because they're not adequate storage area, and it can create a health safety concern. I think what he's saying is correct. I mean, you want to be cognizant of that, aware of it from that standpoint. But it is cleaner, easier if you just have a square footage on the building.
So to that, so if you went a little larger than, so to Mr. Crater's point, so say we did 80-20 or 75-25, but really that behooves, like you said, the owner. I mean, they're building the building, spending the money on it. They're going to have refrigerators in there. They're going to probably want as little storage in the back. I mean, they're going to need some, I'm sure, but they probably want more of their product out on the shelves, seeing it, because from the way I understand the way liquor revolves. So is it better for us as a board to not, I don't know if we should, I mean, if we say, I'm just giving, so we just talk about the 5,000. So if you did 5,000, you did 80-20, that's 4,000 of retail and 20% minimum. But I don't know if you want to require that specifically though, because they may want 100% all storage. So
Yeah, and I think one of my concerns about that is how are we classifying, getting real granular with accessibility? I mean, if you can access the coolers, to your point, with anything that's chilled, you can access it, but not access from the health and safety standpoint of walking around and walking through, worried about stepping over boxes or anything. I understand, like trying to make sure that you're covering all your bases. If you're going to size it down, like Mr. Crater was saying, to a very small standalone building, making sure you're also accounting for that health and safety by requiring there to be sufficient amount of storage too. I'm less concerned about that if you're talking about a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot
Mike, I
building.
think, you already have that issue sometimes, and Ms. Durant and Chief take care of that through code. If you got aisles blocked and everything, we all have stores we already take care of that with.
we do, but we also have stores that we have trouble keeping up with that. I'm not
I
going
would
to say
just
the
say
name of the
that,
store.
I would say that if we go to the 5,000 square foot, whether they have 400 square foot of storage or not, they're going to have ample room for shelving for all their product and keeping the stuff out of the floor. I think that will handle itself, honestly. I don't know that we may be creating a problem for ourselves by
Yeah.
trying to come up with creative ways to do all this. I think if we go to a 5,000 square foot building, they can figure out how they want to store it, but they're going to have plenty of room in their showroom to have storage, have shelving and all that to manage all that. That's, I mean, I've never owned one, but I would have assumed that would be the situation.
And then I just want to add, like, I'm okay with the 5,000 square feet. I think we're getting too far into the weeds. We have competition now. So if one store puts boxes out in the aisles and it looks like crap, people are probably gonna go to the other store. So to me, I think we're just getting too far in the weeds. To me, it's just keep it simple with the minimum square footage of the building.
Agree. So here's what we need to do. So we got a motion, a second on the 4,000. We would have to either vote that one up or down and make a motion at 5,000 before we go to that, or we can't amend the amendment, right?
It'd be
That'd be
cleaner
cleaner? Okay.
to vote on it.
All right.
as
So it sounds like
currently on the floor.
I'm getting, sounds like there's we may need to vote on a different size. So let's go ahead and let's vote on the 4,000. Okay. Let's get a roll call to vote on the amendment to go to 4,000 minimum square feet.
I got a question.
Okay.
I got a question. So if we vote no If we want 5,000, we should vote no on this, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, sorry to make that, is that what you're gonna ask? Yeah, that's what I was saying. We have to clean this one up and go make another amendment.
All right, ready?
All right, yeah, we're ready for a roll call, I
All
think.
right, Alderman Harmon, Alderman Barker,
No.
Alderman McKee,
No.
Alderman Brooks,
No.
Vice Mayor McKee,
No,
Alderman Biggs,
No,
Mayor Wisman.
No.
That fails, I'm sorry.
So that motion fails. So we're back on the main motion. So now we need to make a motion to amend to whatever other side somebody wants to do. Who, somebody wants to make a motion for that, and we'll go with that.
I'd like to make a motion to make the minimum square footage 5,000 square foot.
You got a motion by Mr. McKee. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Biggs. All right, we are now on the motion as amended to 5,000 square feet. Any other discussion? I know we just had discussion on whether we were setting parameters or not, but I think the thought sounds like the process is 5,000 square feet is going to kind of take care of itself, whether they did 500 square feet of storage or 2,000 square feet, it's still big.
Probably like to see a 10,000 square foot destination liquor store, but is that feasible in today's market? Probably not.
Discussion. All right, so we're going to vote on we're going to roll call vote on the motion as amended to, or as, on the amendment, excuse me, to 5,000 square feet.
All right, Alderman Harmon,
Yes.
Alderman Barker,
Yes.
Alderman McKee,
Yes.
Alderman Brooks,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McKee,
yes,
Alderman Biggs.
yes,
Mayor Wisman.
Yes. All right, so that amendment passes. So we are back on the main motion as amended to 5,000 square foot minimum. Now, any other discussion on those points that Mr. Crater pointed out about the conditional use process? So to make sure we're clear, I don't know if this is for Will or Jeremy or Angela. So after this passes tonight, the conditional use, and we have a drawing coming up after that. So the process is, how does the process go moving forward?
So as far as approval, the first step would be to go, it would go to PC first for a recommendation to the BZA. So from PC, would go to BZA with a recommendation of either a positive or negative recommendation, then BZA would hear that and approve or disapprove a conditional use permit. So once a conditional use permit is approved, then at that point it goes to PC and goes through the approval process with the conditional use permit.
All right, and Mr. Attorney, I don't want to get out over my skis on this, but I know some of these properties have conditional contracts on them, right?
Yep.
So what's the process on that?
So as the site plan is working through that process and Mr. Crater just laid out, what the town is doing is not issuing a license for a package store. You are saying, you're issuing a certificate of compliance saying it complies with all the local zoning regulations. That certificate of compliance is a component part of the application for a package store that goes to the Tennessee ABC. I guess if you fast forward and either that conditional use permit is not granted for whatever reason, or the applicant doesn't move forward, or per the ordinance, if that application is not submitted to the state within 180 days, then this board may, through subsequent action, peel back that certificate of compliance approval, move in as required in this ordinance, you just move down to the next one. So as it's working through that process, you can also have some changes to any of the private contracts for those parcels. But you would likely know that because those are attached to the applications. You'd likely know that during the next 180-day period.
Well, I think as we've seen some stories in the news about some buildings taking too long, some that we've seen in the area or even locally that maybe drag out too long. So I think the board's just trying to look for a little cover of that this won't linger on for many years.
Yeah,
So-
there's a time frame. I guess the short answer to that would be there's a time frame set forth in the ordinance to which the applicant can take their certificate of compliance and process for a license with the state.
Questions or comments? Good. Staff?
That, right, and ultimately you get your,
Talking to your microphone.
ultimately you get your occupancy, there's a 3-year on there that was placed by the board, so. Sorry, I want to face
Yeah,
you and
that's-
not,
Yes, that's fine. questions or comments? I mean, I know we've gone through this for over 18 months, 19, 20 months. Any other questions or comments before we vote on, this is just, again, on the conditional use? Seeing none? All right, looks like we're ready for a vote. That item passes unanimously. So, thank you. Item B under old business, second and final reading of ordinance 2026-05 to amend section 1-101 of the Town of Arlington Municipal Code pertaining to the meeting time for the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. We do have a public hearing on this. I'm going to turn this over. It says Mrs. Durant, you ready?
Yeah, I brought this up last month and I think it's beneficial for our staff. And if you look around most of the different municipalities, we're the only ones that start our meeting at 6:30. Yeah, school boards and our current school board starts at 5:30. So that's what I recommended was 5:30 start time.
All right, we've heard the recommendation. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Biggs, second by Mr. Brooks. We're on discussion. And we do have a public hearing. So let's go on and go to the public hearing. Thank you, Brittany. Do I have a motion to suspend the Board of Mayor and Aldermen
Motion.
with the public hearing? Motion by Mr. McKee.
Second.
Second by Mr. Harmon. We are now on the public hearing for second and final reading of ordinance 2026-05 to amend section 1-101 of the Town of Arlington Municipal Code. This public hearing was published in the Daily News on April 10th, 2026. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this particular request, please stand and be recognized. State your name and address for the record. Is anyone here to speak on this? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing and resume the meeting? Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Mr. Biggs. Back on the main motion. Discussion. I know we had a good, for those who are here, we had a good discussion on this last month. So that's probably, sometimes it limits our discussion tonight because we've kind of gotten our questions answered. But I do think that anytime we can help alleviate the time that staff has to be here late into the evening, since they're here all day, is helpful. So I'm appreciative of this gesture. Mr. McKee?
Yes, I'm sorry. Would it start when it passes? If it passes? Okay, it's close enough.
Next month. I mean, once it's passed, it's,
Well, I knew we do it yearly and so,
In the newspaper, which makes it effective immediately. So.
okay. And I'm sure the newspaper's out there and they're going to publish that already anyway, so. All right, any other discussion or questions? All right, seeing none, we're ready to vote. That item passes unanimously. Just for note, though, we have been polling the other committees and some of the other committees may stay where they are because we have volunteers on those. And so those, we may not be consistent on all our committees. So just want to remind everybody of that, which those are fluid and we can change those as needed. Correct, Mr. Crater? Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right. Any other old business, Ms. Owens? All right, on to new business. Item A, Resolution 2026-11, extending the Resolution 2025-49 with a 12-month moratorium on all new utility and public utility land uses. Mr. Patterson, I'm gonna, this, well, sorry. Or maybe, you want me to take it?
I was here whenever it was adopted. I don't know if there's any outstanding questions, but it's just a continuation. I know last time we talked about going 12 months, going 6 months. And so it's again, just up for reconsideration, but happy to address any questions anybody has.
Yeah, so, well, you've heard the recommendation. Let's get a motion. Motion on the floor. Motion by Mr. Biggs.
Second.
Second by Mr. McKee. So we're on the motion now. So let's just remember that we've been almost 6 months and usually our moratoriums have an end date. So hopefully, I mean, staff will push legal to kind of maneuver our way through this. So we don't have this lingering out there forever. But there's a lot of, as we all know, with the AIs and there's some state legislation about power and utility companies and all that. So that's what kind of drove this. And so we are just kind of doing our due diligence to make sure that we don't end up with some things that They're either unwanted or unneeded at this time. Discussion? I guess we're ready to vote. That item passes unanimously. Item B, first reading of ordinance 2026-06 to further amend the town of Arlington, Tennessee budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. Mrs. Owens.
This one on? Okay. So yes, this is the first reading of your final set of budget amendments for the fiscal year. It is a general cleanup of line items and staff's available for any questions.
You've heard the recommendation by Mrs. Owens. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Harmon, second by Mr. Brooks. Discussion or questions? Pretty standard. We seem to do these often. Seeing none, we're ready to vote. That item passes unanimously. Next up, item C. I guess you're going to stay put, Mrs. Owens. First reading of ordinance 2026-07, the town of Arlington, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget, board compensation, and property tax levy for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, and ending June 30th, 2027. Mrs. Owens.
Yes, sir. So, sorry, this is my first time presenting up here. So this is not, okay. So we have done 2 budget work sessions with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. We are presenting a final balanced budget tonight for general fund. In your packet, I did send out the full line item budget, but I also sent out a budget highlight overview. So our estimated general fund revenue is going to be $19,248,326 for fiscal year 27. That does show you the breakdown right there of the major categories. When we started our general fund expenses in January with all department heads, we were at 20.8 million. And we are presenting tonight a balanced budget at 19.2. So staff has cut $1.5 million from this budget to balance. This was the items that were originally proposed, and these were the items that remain. So we have struck through several items. These are the same items that were struck through at the work session that we had with you in April. Again, we are presenting a balanced budget. The tax rate remains unchanged at $1.13 per 100 of the assessed value. We did have increase in our certified tax rolls this year. So real property was up 16.9 million. Personal property was 4.4 million and state assessed property was 13 million. We did have, somebody changed it on me. Sorry. No, you're good. So this is the revenue across the board. It shows you different percentages. So you can see that our property tax, our state share taxes, and our local taxes are the majority of your revenue that comes into the town of Arlington. And then if you look at the expense side, there's a general fund departmental expense. So these are all the departments and the different percentages that they break up into. One of the largest portions is the transfer to other funds. So that's at 18% total transfer. 3.425 million is for state street aid, and the 78,000 is for the solid waste post-closure landfill. Our debt ratio is only 3% in general fund. And this budget does include your debt service for the new fire truck that is scheduled to be delivered early 2027. So that payment is already scheduled in here. We have not entered into that debt, so we will come back to you guys with the resolution to do that, but we went ahead and estimated the payment. Let's see. This shows you just a scale from 2017 to 2025 actuals. You can see where the sales tax is increasing with our budgeted revenue, which means your property tax percentages are decreasing. So they are offsetting each other each year when we do our budget. And then just to stop right there for a second, finish up on general fund. I did also provide you the fund balance estimates for the end of this year, June. Those may change slightly, but I have presented what it is as of today and in our audited figures. So your undesignated as of today for your day-to-day operations and emergency expenses would be 17.1 million, which still keeps you in compliance with your fund balance policy. For anyone in the room that doesn't know, we did revise that fund balance policy in the fall to be a minimum of 75% of your budgeted revenues, and we will be in compliance by the end of the year. So those are the highlights for general fund. State street aid. You can see the majority, 70% of revenue for street aid comes from that transfer from general fund. And then you have some grant projects that are in there. And then your state taxes make up about 10%. So your gasoline tax fluctuates a lot. It depends on your economy. If people are traveling and they're getting gas right now, if you bought a tank of gas, it's outrageous. But all of those fluctuate. So we have been conservative. We've taken into what's going on in the economy before we did this budget, just to make sure we weren't overstating any revenues. Here's a breakdown of your expenses. The majority of your expenses in this department are for repair and maintenance. This year, we're projecting 1.8 million for repairs and maintenance of streets, and $50,000 for repair and maintenance of sidewalks is what's projected in this budget. Also, you'll see some planned projects that are still going on. You have many grant projects going on. We have Donaldson Farms Parkway, which is going to overlap physical years. Airline and Arlington Trail, that project's getting ready to gear up. You will see some of your I-40 interchange possibly happening next spring. So we are going to have to pay for our portion of what we do aesthetically on that. So we've projected some expenses for that. And then the project reserves is 10%. It's $500,000. And this will be your second year to do that. And that is to help replenish your fund balance from when we did our streetlight conversion. So if you remember when we switched out all the streetlights to LED, we paid cash for that. So that's just helping us replenish that fund balance is what we're budgeting. Street aid is a balanced budget. For solid waste, the majority of your revenue that you have is from the service charges that you charge all users. And then money going out is also same money coming in, same money going out for that. We are proposing to add $15,000 to the fund balance for solid waste. So this budget, while technically not balanced, it's not a negative. It is a positive, which if you remember the last 2 years in our budget approval letters from the comptroller's office, they had stated that we shouldn't budget every revenue penny that you have for expense. So you want to make sure that you're trying to save if you can. So solid waste is a fund that's going to have $15,000. It's not much, but it's something that you're putting back. And most of that, just for public knowledge, is due to your interest in your CDs. So it's not that we're overcharging anybody fees on their services. What we're charging you is what we pay out. It's just the interest you have on your bank account. Sewer, this one is also going to project to put $8,335 into fund balance. Again, it's not a huge amount, but it is something. You will have depreciation as an increase in here. So we have budgeted what your actual audited depreciation should be. That number may fluctuate pending our next audit, but we have increased that. Again, your largest revenue source for sewer is your sewer service charges at 72%. And then your expenditures, your largest expense is your depreciation that you have to account for. In there, we have been fortunate the last year to put money back into reserves just because we have paid off one of those loans. But when you enter into debt with your project that you have coming or your expansion, that may change a little bit. But so staff has also provided you their capital improvement project plan and capital equipment plan for the next 10 years. Some departments may only have 5, but some of us had 10 years, so we went ahead and put all that in the plan for you. The full plan is available at Town Hall. We also provided you with a list of projects, which is not in the PowerPoint, but it is in the packets. But that is either projects that are under construction or projects we know that are going to be starting in the next few years, just as an FYI roadmap of how we get there. Again, our debt ratio, you can see on this chart, we have been paying down our debt. The percentage of actual expense for 2025 fiscal year was 3.49% is where we started. And today you stand at 3% for debt. And then I just have your breakdowns there per audited figures for your fund balance. So staff is available to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Owens. You've heard the recommendation by Mrs. Owens. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Barker. Discussion, questions. First off, I want to say thank you. I know we talk about budget season, but budget season is constant year round. We know that, but it's busier during certain times. But thank you for all the work that you and staff have done on this, and I appreciate staff being here tonight. But I know it's a tiresome and thankless job trying to get to this point, and it's difficult with 7 elected officials up here trying to navigate what you all are going to be able to do for the next year. So thank you all. Comments, questions?
Just go back to the trend graph where you showed lines of sales tax versus property tax.
And while I'm doing that, one thing I forgot to mention, you will notice in your ordinance that you have the highlighted section that's missing numbers. Those will be filled in between first and second reading to include the school's budget. So that's the highlighted areas in there. Sorry. This is the chart you had.
So that graph right there is headed in the right direction. I'd like to see those continue to creep up and continue to creep down. We're doing a pretty good job with that, so good job.
Okay. Anyone else? Questions, comments? All right. This is first reading. So again, as we all know, between the first and second, if there's questions, you can get with staff. It'll make the second reading go much easier. And we should have, do you foresee, I know we've gotten the email, but a special call meeting, we've got a date for that just in case.
Right now we're projecting to have the second and final reading with the public hearing and the school's budget on June 2nd. So if everything passes that night, then we won't have to have a special call. But if something does not pass, that's why we picked the date just in case. So
just want to keep that fresh in everybody's minds. All right. Any other questions or comments? First reading. All right. We're ready to vote. That item passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Owens. So next up, we are ready for the lottery drawing for a certificate of compliance for a retail package store. Am I turning this over to Mrs. Reeder? Or kind of the process or the process pretty self-explanatory? We're just going to put the 3 names in a bucket and.
Yes, sir. So just for everybody's benefit here, this was the system that was approved back in March with the ordinance. When we considered an additional retail package store, we created this system to be able to handle applications should we receive more than we had available certificates. So the town did advertise multiple different ways. An application period of March 26th to April 15th. It was in multiple papers on our website and our app, social media. During that time, we did receive 3 applications. They did pass the legal, zoning, and background checks, which are required from the ordinance that you passed. So per the ordinance, we have prepared each of those 3 on equal size sheets of paper, which I'm going to hold. Yep. Yeah. Fold twice and put in this bucket here. We're gonna draw all three. The first would be the one that would be considered tonight for a certificate of compliance. The other two will go on a reserve list, considering, what Mr. Patterson was saying earlier about what could happen if for some reason they're unable to go forward. It keeps us from having to do all the advertising again and go through this whole, if we can still use that reserve list, for the next little bit. So
So for clarification, so the first name drawn will be eligible for the certificate of compliance pending the state application part and their contractual, if they have a contract on whatever their land may be and all that. Then from there starts their timeline on the other part, correct?
That's correct. Because there's only, as the ordinance is currently drafted, there's only a maximum of 2 package stores. With the one existing, there's only 1 certificate of compliance that we can issue at a time. So we're creating the reserve list for 2 and 3 in the event that the first one doesn't actually move forward.
So the number 2 would be next. Okay.
That's correct. Yes, sir. I will say, Mayor, either you or your designee will have to pull them from the bucket.
I was gonna have Mrs. Howell do it, but she's not here, so I guess either I will do it or if Mrs. Reader wants to do it, since she's been the one she's doing all the work, and I'm fine with Mrs. Reader doing the drawing. We're gonna read out all 3 names when they're pulled out, so even though the third one will be by default, but staff is taking this really serious, so, which is good. So that's why Mrs. Owens is hiding Mrs. Reader from seeing the folds and everything.
It's about the best way to keep it as transparent as you can.
Angela's kind of tall.
Airline Cork and Barrel will be number 3.
Did we say that in the microphone? Do we need to say that in the microphone again?
okay. So yeah, so the first that was selected was Pop's Liquor and Wine. Number 2 pulled was Airline Wine and Spirits, and then number 3 was Airline Cork and Barrel. So those are the 3, and that's how they'll go on the list.
All right, so that part is done. So now we have to have item E, which is a resolution 2026-12 approving a certificate of compliance for a retail package store. And that would be
Question?
E, well, yes, before we get a motion on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah, for what, cause it just happened. Could you share with us, cause I'm just curious, Pop's Liquor and Wine. What they submitted, where's the land? Yeah, I was just curious.
Address.
Yeah, I just want to know.
It is a vacant piece of land. It is in a future development of Summer Squares LLC. And the approved lot was lot number 5.
So where is?
It's off of Airline Road and Summers Road.
Oh, okay, over there. Okay, all right.
Toby Gordon. Here's the, if that helps you guys.
Oh, so this is the airline?
This is
Or-
Airline.
Where was the second location?
Okay, so-
I know where all 3 are. I just don't know which one's next.
Just north of Island.
Hannah.
Okay, south of
Lackey.
40 and then,
Hannah
Yeah.
Fatia is
Okay.
the owner of number 2. And then Jessica Cochran and Trent Martin. It's number 3.
What's the name on the?
Toby
name of-
Gordon is number 1.
Who?
Toby Gordon
Toby Gordon here?
is not here.
Okay, so now we move on to item E, resolution 2026-12, approving a certificate of compliance for a retail package store. Mrs. Owens or Mr. Patterson?
Yeah, so this is just implementing the lottery that we just did, so we can actually amend it such that it will reflect the lottery that we just had.
You've heard the recommendation by Mr. Patterson. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Harmon. Any discussion on the certificate of compliance? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All right, that item passes unanimously. Item F, any other new business, Mrs. Owens?
No, sir.
All right. On to approval of bills for payments. Do I have a motion to approve bills? You're shaking your head no over there. Motion by Mr. Biggs. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Harmon. Any objection to paying the bills? Did everybody vote? I forget we got to vote still. I used to be able to fly through this part with no objections, but all right, that item passes. Any other announcements before we get a motion to adjourn? Thank you, staff. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Do I got a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Biggs, second by Mr. Harmon. Everybody vote. That's a unanimous vote.
Still won't say name, but y'all.
I'm pretty sure this is 1, 2,
Ugh.
3, 4,